know it's hard to believe that we're even talking about fall. It seems as though summer just began, but believe it or not, fall is just around the corner. So I thought I would make a nice new fall wreath to hang on my door. And so some of the items that I have are a foam wreath. I got this at Walmart. And everything else I got at the dollar store, Dollar Tree to be specific. I got 2 rolls of this plaid ribbon. I don't know if I'll need both, but I have 2 just in case. I have these LED leaf lights, which I'm not sure if I'm going to be using or not. We'll see how it goes. And then I have a ton of fall foliage that I have been collecting from the Dollar Tree. And I don't know which of these I will use and which ones I won't. I'm just going to kind of play it by ear and see how things go. Okay, so let's get started making this fall wreath. I also have my hot glue gun getting warmed up here. And other than some wire cutters, I don't think there's any other equipment that you're going to need. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ribbon and I'm going to wrap it all the way around the foam ring just so that I can cover the green. You're also going to need a pair of scissors just for whatever you might need it for. In my case, I can't get into this ribbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little dab, just a tiny dab of hot glue on one end of the ribbon just to hold it in place. And you want to put it kind of towards the inside. You're going to want to start it towards the inside of the wreath just so, you know, no raw edges are showing. And then you just wrap it, and this ribbon has a wired edge, so it will conform pretty easily to this wreath. And so as you see, that one spool of ribbon covered this wreath perfectly. And so what you're going to want to do, I mean, there's a tiny bit of green showing on the other side, but that's going to be the back of the wreath, so it doesn't really matter. You're going to want to put another little dollop of glue on this side to hold the ribbon in place. And you're going to want to use something like your scissors or something like that to push it down so that you don't burn your fingers. I'll put this up at the top and I'll make this kind of where the hanger goes, I think. So now what I'm kind of envisioning is the flowers just coming along half of this wreath, and that way you can see the beautiful ribbon on the other half. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out which of these florals I want to use and how I want to arrange them. And when I get ready to show you the next part, I'll bring you back. Pretty sure I want to use these mini mums, and I've got them in this off-white color, this like rusty red color, and this orange color. And I want them I want to bend the stems so that they kind of go like this on the wreath, that they kind of take the shape of the wreath. Like kind of like so. But I don't want just all the white ones up here and all the orange ones down here, and I also want to include some of these red ones. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop some of these off of here and exchange them for another color off of a different stem. And I'm going to kind of try to make both sides look fairly similar. So when I get that all done, and I'm going to incorporate some of these red ones in as well, I'll bring you back and show you the next step. So basically it's very simple. You just pop one of these flowers off pop a different one back on, like that. And then that way this will look like a bouquet of all different colored little mums. Okay, so I think I have these pretty much the way I want them. And the stem is still too long, even though I've bent it, it's still too long. So I'm going to take my wire cutters and I'm just going to cut off about 1.5 inches of each stem off the bottom. Because really you don't want all of this stem to even be showing. And I'm going to be filling it in with other flowers, so it's not going to be, you won't even see it hardly when I'm done, but you don't want a bunch of extra hanging out. So I'm going to go ahead and flip these out, bend the bottom so they kind of conform to the side of the wreath. Kind of like that is how I'm going to have it. And like I said, I'm going to be filling in with more flowers. I don't want to hot glue any of this down yet because you want to be sure that you have it the way you want it before you make it a kind of permanent situation with the hot glue. Okay, so I think that I like that. Now I wanted to also incorporate into this some of these Gerbera daisies that look like they have burlap petals. And I also wanted to incorporate this sheaf of wheat. So these I'm going to go ahead and cut apart into sections, and you just do that with your wire cutters. So when I get everything cut apart, I'll bring you back and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. One other thing I decided that I would use that would be useful is some of this floral tape. And mine is covered in glitter from when I was doing all those glittery projects in the spring, but that's okay. You won't notice it at all. So I'm going to use the floral tape to put these wheat stalks into the design. I want the sheets of wheat to stick out farther than the mums. So instead of fastening it with the floral tape down here on the bottom part of the stem, I'm going to go ahead and fasten it up higher onto one of the independent stems from the flowers. And the way that floral tape works is that you kind of hold it down in place. It's kind of sticky, but you kind of have to pull and twist at the same time in order to kind of activate the stickiness. So you don't want to pull too hard or it will break the tape, but you want to just kind of pull with a light pressure and twist. And then when you get to the end, or where you want to stop, you just pull hard and it'll tear right off. Like that. And then you just finish twisting it around. So I'm going to go ahead and work on getting all of these wheat sheaves incorporated into the mums, and when I have that all done and the way I like it, I'll bring you back. Okay, so I have a couple of wheat sheaves on each side of this floral arrangement, and I'm liking how it's starting to look. So I think what I'm going to do next, I'm going to start hot gluing the different halves of the wreath together. I still want to incorporate these Gerbera daisies also. So in order to adhere this to the wreath, you just use hot glue. And you're going to want to use quite a bit because the silk flowers have a little bit of weight to them. And you're going to want to hold this for a few seconds till it starts to dry. And I don't think I'm going to be end up using these LED lights because I think this wreath is going to be full enough when I get done with it. Okay, so that's pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the other half on here. In the same manner. Just hot glue it on. And don't worry if it looks kind of ugly at this point. We're not even close to being done. And all of this glue and these stems and everything will be covered up. So I'm going to let this set for a minute till it's completely dry, and when I'm ready to go on to the next step, I'll bring you back. So after the glue was dry from gluing the flowers on, I went ahead and made a bow and glued it on here. And I didn't show you how I did this because I am really terrible at making bows, and honestly I don't think this is all that great looking as it is, but I will make do with it. I just can't make bows. I've tried and tried. So if you have any helpful tips on how to make a decent bow, leave it in the comments section below. I think this bow will end up looking okay once I have this finished and I fiddle with it enough. Okay, I'm not going to fiddle with it right now. Once I made my bow, I just hot glued it in place. Okay, so we are not done yet. This is not full enough for my liking. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of these Gerbera daisies, and I'm going to just kind of stick them in and hot glue them on. And when I have it all done, when the wreath is complete and I like the way it looks, I'll bring you back and I'll show you the finished product. So I'm pretty much done with the wreath. What I've been doing is I've been taking the last of these little mums that were on this other stem, and I've been popping those off and then just using them to fill in any gaps or spaces that are in the wreath that I don't particularly like. I only ended up using 4 of these daisies because I just felt like they were kind of big in comparison to the smaller flowers, and I didn't want to overwhelm the wreath. So I'm just going to go ahead and find spots for these last 3 flowers just to use them up. And I'm going to hang it on my door, and when I have it hung, I'll bring you back and show you what it looks like. Here is the finished product hanging on the door. What I ended up doing is using the last little bit of ribbon off the spool and making a hanger. I just hot glued it to the back of the ring, the wreath, and I've put in a couple of thumbtacks just for added support. And there we go. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on how to do a fall wreath. If you did, give me a big thumbs up, and thanks a lot for watching, friends. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.